Drum roll?
Drum roll? Okay. We have the first ever TLOP experience coming in September 2026. The TLOP Cruise.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it's going to be brought to you by the one and only Laura Zuluaga, right? It's first class travel.
Zuluaga.
You. I can't say it. I'm not even going to try to say it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children 18 plus. You are tuned in to the Lone Officer Podcast with me, Dustin Owen, and the hostess with the mostest, my girl,
Laura Zuluaga.
Laura Zuluaga. I can never pronounce your last name, Laura. You know that? We've been friends for 3 years, and I butcher your last name every single time. You're even in my phone as Laura Zulu. That's it. That's as far as I made it. So help me out again.
Yeah, just Zulu like the alphabet, Aga like Lady Gaga.
Oh, I like that. Yes. And that's Colombian.
Yeah, Colombia, originally from Medellin. Moved here to the States when I was 9 years old. Massachusetts, go Pats. And have been in Florida now for over 20 years.
Okay, so is it Medellin or Medellin?
Medellin.
It's Medellin. Like, is there a difference? Like, if I'm from one part of the country, it's said one way, and one part of the country, it's from another?
We all say Medellin.
Everyone.
Everybody.
Everyone in Colombia
If you don't,
says
they're
Medellin.
going to know you're not from there.
Perfect. Well, I say Medellin because I had a friend and a colleague who was Colombian born, and she said Medellin. But every time that I say it, all my white friends want to make fun of me as if I'm saying it incorrectly.
Nope, you're saying the right thing, and now we just got to take you there.
All right. So for the audience, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, where's JC? And if you tuned in to an episode that we dropped a week ago, you would have seen my main man, JC, producer extraordinaire, original, right? Like original co-founder. JC's still around, y'all, but here's the deal. I want to introduce you to more of the people that I think are helping shape the future of business and the future of mortgage. And my friend Laura is one of those people. On top of that, JC has expressed interest, or I should say disinterest, in being on camera. He's like, look, guys, I've been doing it for 5 going on 6 years. We've done 600 episodes. He's training someone else to take over the production. And when it comes to being on camera, he's like, as little as possible. So we don't know how often JC is going to come hang out with us, but it doesn't mean that we don't want to continue to advance this content and provide value. So today, I'm going to introduce you to Laura because she is a friend of mine, but I think she is someone that if things go well, I'm going to convince her to come in and play co-host on many episodes going forward. Now, we'll introduce you to the rest of the TLOP crew, whether it's Mikey, Rocky, Vinny that I introduced you to an episode or two ago, or Special K, our girl Karina, right? She is now the producer extraordinaire. And from time to time, I may even convince Mark Holmes, who's my chief of staff, to come on because I think Mark brings a lot of value and also really good perspective. But today is all about getting to know Laura, as well as this. Laura is helping TLOP put together something super special in 2026. You have to stick around on today's episode, and we'll talk about it as we get towards the end. On top of that, during today's episode, Laura and I are going to talk about something that she's an expert in, and that is corporate travel. So it's the beginning of the year. Conference season is kicking off. There are tips and tricks for business professionals, sales professionals like us to attend 1 or 2 of these events a year and make it worth our while, as well as corporate travel. We think about doing things like sales conferences or things like awards trips for top sales professionals. These are all things that we're going to bring you today, best practices, tips, and tricks, but after we get to know Laura. Before we get to know Laura, I'm going to take a deep, quick pause so we can hear from today's show sponsor. Y'all, something big is happening at Lower Mortgage. And if you're paying attention to this industry, you've probably noticed. In just the last month alone, Lower has added some serious horsepower. We're talking top producers representing over $350 million in volume. These aren't rookies kicking tires. These are heavy hitters who've done their homework and made the move. That should tell you something. On top of that, Lower just acquired Movoto, a top 5 real estate portal with over 150 visitors just last year. Before that, they brought in Neat Labs, and now they're launching Lower OS, a next-gen mortgage platform that's cutting loan delivery times down to 10 days. This isn't a company standing still. Lower doubled their volume last year, and they're projecting another 40 to 50% growth this year. The best in the business are taking notice, and they're voting with their feet. Here's the reality. The companies that are going to win in this market are the ones investing in technology, building real infrastructure, and competing at scale. Lower is doing all of that. They're going head to head with the rockets of the world, and they're built for originators, not against them. If you're a producer who wants to be a part of something that's actually going somewhere, not just surviving, but growing, this is the moment. Lower mortgage, the momentum is real. If you're a producer who wants to be a part of something that's actually going somewhere, not just surviving, but growing, this is the moment. Lower mortgage, the momentum is real. You can check them out and find more information by going to company.lower.com. Or you can always reach out to my dude, Craig Montgomery, and make sure you tell him T-Lop said what's up. And we're back. All right, Zulu, so let's jump into it. Let's introduce the audience to you, right? You live in Central Florida with me. You're married to Juan. Well, I didn't meet through Juan. We met through Central Florida Tri Club.
Yeah, that was 3 years ago now. We did a little bit of training together. We haven't gotten to race together, which is on our to-do list, I hope.
Well, are you doing Portugal this year?
Unfortunately not. We're on family planning mode now, so no races for me for the foreseeable future. I say that, and I just did 2 races over the last 2 weeks, but
not just 2 races. What 2 races did you do? Walk the audience through what type of endurance athlete you are.
So traditionally, as of 3 years ago, I started doing triathlons, Ironmans. Had the opportunity to participate in some amazing races all over the world, from Barcelona, New Zealand, Finland for a world championship, Nice, France for another world championship, Cartagena. So just kind of traveling all over the country and all over the world with our friends and our team and enjoying our company, challenging each other. However, due to one of our mutual friends, Michael, 2 weeks ago, we decided to go into a new route called ultra running, 46 miles on a trail in Apopka. It was very, very different than anything I've ever done before. But I will say this, no disrespect to the ultra runners, it was still not harder than an Ironman, in my opinion. In my opinion,
a full or a half?
Then a full.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
For many reasons that we can get into at another time, but I definitely enjoyed it. It was a mental challenge more than a physical challenge for me. But I truly enjoyed the 12 hours that we were out there. It was a trail run, which I've never done before. It was after the holidays, so, some drinking and extra eating definitely wasn't the best prep for that type of endurance event. But I enjoyed it, and I think a lot of what I've learned from this being an endurance sports is it's not necessarily the race or the event you're attending, but the people you're doing it with that make it special.
Yeah, I think that's life in general. But yeah, I mean, not many of us know people who sign up for 12-hour races and do 46 miles. And by the way, you mentioned Apopka, Florida. So for those that are tuning in that don't know Central Florida, there's nothing special about Apopka, Florida. Okay, so Laura's been to New Zealand. She's been to Nice. She's been down to Colombia multiple times. That was my one curveball. And then she's like, yeah, and I went to Apopka, which, pick whatever random city in your hometown and imagine running a 3-mile loop. What is that, 17 times?
15 times it was, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
there's a point off in there.
It was really cool. I'll be honest, I had a little bit of FOMO. Not that I would have come out and done the full 12 hours with y'all, but I would have come out and done a 2 or 3 hours with you, which I know some of our friends did that, right? Yeah,
you mentioned that it's hard to find people that are willing to sign up for things like this, but I think even more special is that our group of friends, or crazies, whatever you want to call them, are willing to take time out of their Sunday morning and, wake up early just to go run a few laps with us around a trail that, like you mentioned, nothing special about it. There's no beautiful scenery or anything like that. So that was the first, I call, challenge of the year. Wanted to start off the year on a strong note. I was 1 lap away from a podium on my first endurance event, so I thought that was pretty cool. And to keep things interesting, last weekend I ran the Disney half marathon. The hardest part about those races isn't the race. Do you know what the hardest part is?
The people that get in your way?
Well, that too. That would be
Yes.
second place. It's the 2:30 wake-up call. Because Disney, of course, being the business entrepreneurs that they are, they want to make sure that they can still operate their parks.
So they need all racers done so they can open up the park and let the tourists come in?
Exactly.
Oh.
So you're not just saying, hey, I'm going to go run 13 miles because, as you know, that's a pretty normal distance for me on a weekend. It's the 2 a.m. wake-up call to drive out to Disney, 40, 50 minutes, wherever you're coming from in Central Florida. And then by the time you run the race, it's not till 5:30 in the morning. So you're like, okay, how did the logistics of this play out? But it's always fun there. They have entertainment. They keep it light. They have the characters. So it was fun.
So you have competed in how many half Ironmans and how many full Ironmans?
I believe I lost track
Look
now.
at this. If you have to think, it's already too many. If you have to like stop and think and count on your hands, but would you say you've done
five 70.3s, which
So
are
five
half
halves,
Ironmans,
okay.
yep, including one world championship, and four Ironmans.
and four fulls? Yes.
Barcelona, Cozumel.
All right. So you'll be a part of my moral support team in
I will.
2026 when I start officially training for my first and probably my only full, which would be
I
in
will
October.
be more than your moral support. I will be your accountability partner.
Hey, beautiful, beautiful. I did 50
I
minutes.
will make sure you show up and get it done, Dustin.
I was on my trainer this morning. So not for long. I did 50 minutes, but I was like, I just got to get some miles in, get a little bit of saddle time and get going. And I think this is cool too. We don't need to dive deep into it, but you also played water polo in high school and college, right?
Yep. So I was naturally a swimmer growing up. So naturally, you get geared towards the water polo route once you hit high school. Water polo was very small back then in Central Florida, so it was kind of unheard of. People didn't really know much about it. There wasn't many club teams or anything to practice with. But I played in high school, and then I played at UCF. We had a club team. Actually ended up second in the nation my senior year out of 160, 180 teams.
That's really cool. I didn't know that. Go Knights.
Yeah, go Knights. We upset a big California team in the quarterfinals, which was even a big deal that we made it there. Then on to the semis, and we lost, unfortunately. Dagger lost the championship by 1 point.
Oh, so 13 years later, it still sits with you,
It
huh?
still sits.
Well, I can tell you this. Water polo girls especially are mean as shit. Like, don't F with them. Do not F with a water polo player. Like, those girls are giving each other wedgies. They're like pulling down their tops. They're elbowing each other. Like, you girls are dirty
we're a different
under the
breed.
water.
I think when you kind of become too comfortable in your own body in a way,
Yeah.
and around other people, and you're in these tight little bathing suit one pieces, and you're not afraid. I mean, you have to. It's either stick up for your own or you're gonna drown.
Sink or swim.
Sink
Literally,
or swim.
sink
Literally.
or swim.
Yes.
Punch your way out, girl. So let's talk about you as a professional. And we're not going to dive into what you did your first 10 years coming out of college. I do think it's really cool. I learned this today, so I was today years old. When I learned that originally, Laura, when she graduated with her undergrad, thought she was going to go to dental school and be our next dentist. As the world would have it, she ended up going to getting her MBA and going into the business world. But I think it's really cool that you and your husband, Juan, who you all are like me, you're kind of high school sweethearts. Like, you met in high school, but you started dating in college.
Correct.
Where my wife and I met in high school, started dating in high school, broke up for a couple years in college, then got back together. But you all have been together for most of your lives. But you all are big-time real estate investors. Like, how many rental properties are you all up to now?
So we have 15 single-family properties that we own, clear outright. I also handle all the property management for those. And my husband has a commercial real estate brokerage where he handles leasing, purchases, investments, acquisitions of anything commercial. So his specialty is industrial, but we do have a REIT guy on the team as well as an office guy on the team.
Yeah, I think that's important for the audience to know because, yes, you're getting a friend of mine. Yes, we have a really cool chemistry. I think she's a badass human. And she's a badass endurance athlete who has really accomplished some cool stuff, right, in your life. You're extremely well-traveled. So the amount of value you're going to bring to the audience, I think, is huge. But on top of that, it's like, hey, by the way, yeah, my husband and I own 15 rental properties, and I help him run his commercial real estate brokerage. So I know a thing or two about real estate. You don't know a whole lot about mortgage because you guys don't have mortgages on any one of your properties. But you definitely
took a little bit of a different approach there.
Yes.
I know it doesn't necessarily go with with the mortgage industry.
Yeah.
But it was the approach that made most sense for us. And also this, we started buying very young. So while a lot of our friends that were, graduating college were buying the big house or getting, the car we've always wanted with their first shiny paycheck, we kind of went the opposite of that and just went heavy into the investment, which hindsight, I wish we would have had more money back then, because obviously we all know what property values have done.
Yeah,
so,
well, and honestly, and that's not for today's episode, but that's where leverage could have worked in your favor, right? Instead
Absolutely.
of, and this is what they would do. They would save, and then go buy.
Correct.
Right, and you all started with smaller 1-bedroom condos that were easier to acquire.
Correct.
And then even now, because Juan trains with us too, he's a badass endurance athlete. Like these two together, holy cow! You start your family. These kids really only have like a couple choices, and those choices are run, swim, bike. Do you want to do all three at the same time, or do you want to do them individually?
Split it up?
But Juan and I get a chance to train together, and it's interesting when you get up at 5:30 in the morning and you're out training. Right? It's nice to have other people, and that's really where these friendships and these bonds are built, and you get to know a thing or two. So I remember peppering Juan with questions. He's like, oh yeah, I have a big sale coming up, right? He was all excited. Most people do get excited about a big sale, right? You're talking about selling a $2.5–3 million commercial property. That's a decent sized commission check. But what Juan was most excited about is that's when he buys his next property, right?
Correct.
He's like, oh, Laura and I are going to go find another property. We're going to use half the money that's coming in from this commission to make that next purchase.
Yeah, so we've set it up in a way where it for a while it balanced out between big commission checks and me having a standard salary job, that it really worked out great for us. It put us in a place where if we were okay with the lifestyle we have now, we could say this is it.
Yeah.
Right. But of course, as you already heard, we're not your average Joe, not standard people by any means.
Yeah, but how nice is it? You're in your mid-30s, right, with a couple $1 million worth of real estate that's cash flowing. Yeah. Like not many people can say that, whether they're in their 30s or their 50s, right? But you all have proven like, hey, there is a way to do this. And it's not like you were born into money, right? It's not like this was ever given to you.
First generation immigrant, but I think part of that it has kind of lit that fire under our asses, is that we want to make sure that it was worthwhile, that our parents came here and, sacrificed their career, sacrificed being by their families to do something better for ourselves and to essentially put our kids and our kids' kids and every generation forward in a place where they're in a better place than we were growing up, and so on and so forth. So it's exciting for us. It's something that, Juan introduced me to real estate. I've learned a lot. I continue to learn. I love learning. So I love that our group of friends we have a couple of people in the industry, and our running sessions are actually kind of TED Talks.
Yes.
Anybody that shows up, you're going to learn something. It may be something personal, it may be something professional, it may be a little bit of both, but you're going to leave with some sort of knowledge. And it's really cool because we all get to kind of bounce ideas of each other and learn from each other. And while we didn't do it the traditional way and we didn't use leverage, which is something that we kind of go back and forth on, especially with those single-digit interest rates a couple of years ago. It's something that we're happy that we're at least here and that we made those decisions versus looking back and saying, oh man, we blew through that money.
But what's really cool that you all could do now is you all could cross-collateralize those 15 properties, right? Like you could go to any bank, show them your portfolio, say it's worth $2 million, and they're like, cool, we'll give you $1 million, right, to go out and spend however you want to go spend, and then you could go acquire how many additional properties with that $1 million.
So one of our future plans in the near future is to start getting into some commercial investments. We already own some retail, but we want to continue developing that part of the portfolio. And then also our primary home, because we're in a condo downtown. So
y'all been in that condo. That's the first thing you bought, right?
No, that was probably fourth or fifth condo that we purchased.
But is it the only one you've lived in?
Yes.
Okay.
Everything else has been. It's funny. For a while when I had an 8 to 5, 9 to 5 job, I oftentimes didn't have the availability to go look at the apartments. So for a good 4 or 5 years, we owned all these apartments. I had no idea what they looked like.
Yes.
I mean, I saw the pictures, I saw the listing, but that was about it, because the idea is we get it, and I mean, it's hopefully rented within a couple of days. So oftentimes, you do the closing, everything's virtual now, or, online DocuSign, and we would get the keys, but Juan would go do the showings, and before we knew it, it was rented, and I never even saw the place. So, I mean, which is a good problem to have, right?
It's a great problem. And it's cool, Juan telling me the story. I mean, he was that kid in college that read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, right? You mentioned earlier something, and I do want to get into what you do now for a living, and not so much like we're talking a lot about your investment portfolio, right? But Juan has his full-time career. You have your full-time career. You have your investment portfolio. But you said something pretty profound in it. It's something that I can't empathize with because I don't have the real-world experience, but you said you feel like there's a certain amount of pressure that you all feel, both you and your husband being, you are a child when your family immigrated, right?
Correct.
So like your children will be the first born in the U.S.
Correct.
But your family took on a large sacrifice to uproot and leave South America for the States. Is that an internal pressure? Like you just internalize it yourselves? Like do your sisters feel it? Or was it a little bit like pushed down by your parents?
No, never. And I think that's the most nostalgic part about it, is that it was never, hey, you better do right because look at what we gave up for you. It was never that. It was always support. It was always encouragement. It was always, what can we do to make you better? With that being said, my dad was, if it's on an A, why is it a B? A B is not good enough.
Yeah.
And so he kind of set that standard from a very, very early age, that A's, I know you have the capacity to get A's, so that's what I expect out of you. And I think that led my sisters and I, who are, also very successful. One of them is a physical therapist. The other one is a events manager at the Gaylord Palms. So, we all took very different routes in our career paths, but we all did something with that sacrifice. All 3 fellow UCF Knights. Stefania also got her doctorate at UCF for her physical therapy. So it was always, for me, it's internal. I can't speak on their behalf, but from, living together, obviously, it was never, hey, you better do that because of what we gave up for you. It was more just seeing it with my own eyes. I was also the oldest, so maybe I feel that way a little bit more than they do. But it was more so, hey, I know my dad had a doctorate in Colombia, and he was a professional there, and he kind of said, hey, whatever it takes to get you guys here, to get you through school, to have a roof over your heads, to have food on the table, to give you a good lifestyle, it was always that.
Do you find that is pretty common, not just in your family, but with other people that come with your background and your experiences, where either their parents immigrated and they're first generation born, or they were children when their family immigrated? Do you think you and your sisters are more the norm?
I would hope so.
Yeah.
I can't speak for others, but I do think that in general, people come here with the idea of, they're looking for better opportunities, they're looking for a future.
Yeah.
So I would hope that that's the kind of the mindset is, it's let's make something out of this, versus a lot of people, do waste that opportunity. So
cool. Let's go ahead and pay some bills real quick, and then we'll be right back.
What's up, y'all? If you're truly serious about leveling up, breaking through, or bouncing back in your career, more than likely, coaching is going to make sense for you. Rarely does someone achieve the highest level of success by themselves or on their own. They always have some form of a partner, a mentor, or a coach leading them down the right path. At T-Lob's Originator Coaching, you can come and allow us to invest in your future success. There's a reason why we are deemed the #1 coaching community for loan originators. For a small investment, you will be given access to 4 live coaching calls per month. On top of that, we're going to give you 4 live sales trainings per month. And then every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, for 3 hours every day, we have a coach on call. This is your opportunity to get one-on-one for 10 or 15 minutes with either me or one of my certified coaches to go over your unique scenario, your unique idea, or to get feedback on something that you're working on inside of your business. It's free to check us out. Go to our website, tloponline.com, click on the coaching section, and see the various ways that you can let TLOP invest in your future success.
All right, so Laura, what I want to do now is I want to introduce people to what you're doing now. We teased at the very beginning that, hey, we're going to give them some tips on how to properly leverage the conference circuit, right? Like it's the beginning of the year.
Season.
It's conference season, but also want to be able to talk to those that are running sales or they're running entire organizations, because when you're running sales, the best practice is you have an annual sales conference, an internal one. And when you're running sales, you're running an entire company. It's pretty common, especially in the mortgage industry, to do awards trips for some of your high achievers. And I couldn't think of two better people to sit here. One, because of your background, right? And then my background combined, where we can give that type of advice as a takeaway for today's episode. But I think before we jump even into that, we need to spend 2 or 3 minutes just briefly. What do you do full time? Like, what is your job outside of helping Juan run his real estate brokerage and then helping manage the 15 rental properties? What do you do full time for work?
So I am the owner of First Class Travel. We are a full service travel agency specialized in groups, destination weddings, family travel. So if you're just looking to do a personal trip with your family, everything is custom made though. There's no cookie cutter itineraries here. Everything is tailored to what you want to do with you and your wife, or you and your group of friends, whoever it is that is traveling. And then we also handle corporate travel. So whether that is I have firms that have their associates or their partners traveling to visit clients, and I'm booking their airfare, their hotel, their car rentals, if they need conference space or meeting space wherever they're going. I have a big dermatology practice that they go to a lot of conferences, so I handle all their room blocks at the different conferences. And then also, like you mentioned, you have 2 different types of group travel within the businesses. The first being those conferences. So when you're putting together a conference, as an attending, sometimes it just looks very, I showed up and it's there. It's done.
Not that easy.
There is so much that goes into it. From a logistics perspective, just to get everybody there, if you are handling that part of it, to making sure that the event is worthwhile, right? If you go to a conference and it sucks, are you going to go back next year? Probably not. And also the event space that's associated with hosting the conference. If you're going to cap your event at a certain size, or is it free for all? Mm-hmm. So all those things need to be planned for. Once the sales are made, we got to incentivize people. We got to reward people. You want to make it exciting, right? If not that that's the only thing pushing you to make the sales, but if you hear that the trip that they're trying to make the incentive trip for the year, or your president's circle, or awards, Achievers Club, whatever your company name may be for that special group of salespeople, if it's something that's like, we're taking you to Daytona Beach for a 3-night stay, like,
hey,
are
back
you
in
really?
1986, that would have been the jam. In 2026,
You're dating
not
yourself.
So much. Not so much.
So, you want to make it exciting, and travel is so accessible now. It's not like back in the day that airfare was super expensive and there wasn't a lot of variety. There's so many different cool things to do now. Whether you want to hit up Cabo for a long weekend, or you're going to do something fun and adventurous in Costa Rica, you're going to do a cruise. There's so many different ways, and knowing who your people are, right? Knowing your staff, your team members is obviously a large part of that. That's kind of what I need from you as the business owner approaching me. And then from there, I take it and I make it something memorable. I make it something that your people are like, whatever we do next year, I don't know what it is, but I want to be there.
Yes.
So
that's called First Class Travel.
First Class Travel, yes. We are a franchise under Cruise Planners.
Okay.
So that gives me access to pretty much every vendor you could think of in the travel industry, which is a great asset for my clients. And it also opens up a door for endless perks and added goodies per se, or discounts to my clients.
Well, yes, let's run through this quickly. You were just in Cancun for 5 days. Why were you in Cancun for 5 days? And by the way, she said she only went to the pool for an hour and hardly drank, which I believe neither, but that's okay. What were you doing down in Cancun?
You know me too well. So I was visiting a property that I do a lot of business with. I'm one of their top sales year over year.
What property is that?
Hyatt Ziva Cancun.
Hyatt Ziva?
Yes.
How do I spell that?
Ziva. It is. I have been very fortunate to travel literally around the world, and this is a place that Juan and I frequent 2, 3, maybe 4 or 5 times a year. If more, we will go more. It is stunning. It also holds a very special place for me because that's where we actually got married. We had a destination wedding.
Okay, so you did a destination wedding, and this is like a super fancy, all-inclusive resort in Cancun.
Yes, it's a high-end, all-inclusive. So quality of food is fantastic. Top shelf liquor, fun entertainment, but not tacky.
So was it a boondoggle? Were you just down there for 5 days to get away from wine and hang out, or were you actually like booking weddings or?
Yeah. So while I'm there, I'm often doing site inspections for my upcoming brides and grooms. I'm meeting with staff, whether it's from the events department, whether it's from the wedding department, or even just the general, the GM. He's a great person. He always set some time aside to have dinner with me or a glass of wine. So, just connecting with the people that I do business with, staying current with what's going on at the resort. They just had some renovations, so I wanted to check it out for myself, right? There's nothing like firsthand knowledge and experience. And it's Cancun. Do you really have to beg me to go there?
Well, so you do that, but then you're helping my parents book a safari.
Correct. So I'm a very firm believer that if I experience something, I'm going to be able to provide a much better service for you. So I sacrificed.
Is that when you tell yourself to sleep good at night?
I sacrificed. And Juan loves this because he gets to sacrifice with me. So we actually sacrificed 3 weeks last year to, go get some, just due diligence, do a little research in Africa. But we did our first safari. It was absolutely amazing. Unlike any other trip I've ever done, just kind of takes you out of the routine, literally takes you out of the hustle and bustle. You're in the middle of the Serengeti. Amazing. Like I thought, okay, like how many days can you really see lions and giraffes for and be excited about it? All of them. Yeah. All of them is the answer. So we did that. So I take pride in experiencing things on my own so that I can better provide an experience like for your parents in this case, who they will be going on their first safari here in a couple of months, and they're very excited about it.
Yes, I talked to my mom briefly about it, but I was super happy that I was able to connect you two, and that you're able to help them make that dream of theirs happen. I had this dream that one day TLOP is going to have TLOP travel, but it's going to be like Zulu travel and TLOP travel. I mean, the one thing that we have is that we have a massive following in the mortgage space. I have friends from Spokane to Key West, everywhere in between. They're top producers, they're CEOs, they're company owners. And the one thing that I know really well is how to put on an event. I mean, when I was running my mortgage operation, we were one of the largest in the country. And every single year for 13 years in a row, I put on the Florida Sales Conference, right? That was 60 plus people coming into Orlando for 2 nights. I have the opportunity because of TLOP, I travel the country and I speak at some of the largest conferences. So not only do I get to experience what I've done, but I also get to experience what other people are doing. And then I go to some of the largest conferences, whether it's Housing Wire's The Gathering, or I go to Sales Mastery or Sales Mastermind. Like the mortgage industry has various conferences, like any industries.
Correct.
that we can go to. So I'm thinking, wait a minute. With Laura and her team and me and my team and my contacts and her experience, my experience, but with her experience, if that makes any sense, like, wow, what could we really do to help companies either throw their first ever internal sales conference, or to help them establish what they need to do Achievers Clubs, and then obviously to facilitate it under budget, but also in a way that those salespeople, like you said earlier, are wowed by it, right? They become a raving fan of their company because they did this for them. So that's just a dream of mine that I hope that over the next quarters or years, I'm hoping more weeks and months, not quarters and years, that we can start having that dialogue. And I'll just throw it out there like, if you're looking to do anything travel and you want to be badass, you should always reach out to Laura. But if you're kicking around the idea of doing your own conference, or you're kicking around the idea of doing a awards trip for your salespeople, like, don't go at it alone. You can reach out to us. We can help get you on the right path, get you pointed in the right direction, maybe even put together a game plan. And maybe that'll be like how we start tiptoeing into this whole like Zulu travel meets TLOP travel, and we really open up some corporate services. But here's what I promised the group, and we do have to find a way somehow to put a bow on today's episode. I don't know how we're going to do that. But I'm going to ask you a series of 3 questions. I'm going to get your answer, that I'm going to provide my answer.
Sounds good.
So the first question is, for anyone that's looking to attend a conference, right? So you're an attendee. What is your one go-to? Like, what's your one piece of advice to that business professional attending the conference?
Book early. I mean, from a scheduling perspective, good conferences sell out. So book early, get your hotel early. Majority of the time, these conferences will have a room block at a much more favorable rate than if you were to go buy it on your own. And yeah, I know that when you go to Vegas, there's a million hotels you can choose from, but there's nothing like, after a fun night in Vegas, there's nothing like being able to wake up the next morning and just hitting lobby on that elevator and you're in the conference space versus battling Ubers, or now you're running behind or crossing the busy Vegas streets, right? So make it simple for yourself. I think that allows you to have a better experience at the conference. And if you plan early, you're going to make out okay. Oftentimes, reservations can be modified, canceled if needed too. So just plan accordingly. It's going to make the experience better.
All right. So my one piece of advice, it's an oldie but a goodie. I believe that the real magic happens between 4 p.m. and 11 p.m. Right? Yes, you want to go to the sessions. You don't need to go to all of them. Right? Hand select 2 or 3 that you looked at the description or you saw the speaker and you're like, you know what? Odds are this one's going to be really good or really relevant. But you go to these conferences to network. It's the people you meet. It's the conversations you have.
And it's the cocktail hours. It's the dinners.
So that 4 to 11, like that is, and by the way, from experience, nothing good happens after midnight. Now, I won't say nothing fun happens after midnight because a lot of fun is had after midnight, but typically nothing good. So if you go into it saying, you know what, from 4 to 11, that's when I'm gonna get my work done. And it's about expanding my network. Like that's why I make sure I attend 2 conferences a year every single year. And it's become harder and harder because many conferences now I'm a speaker. Well, when I'm a speaker, I'm working.
Yeah.
Right. And I can't get the networking aspect. So this year I said, I'm willing to speak at 12 events, but I want to attend at least 2 where I'm not working. Like I am just there. And something I have to do a better job of, I have to get the guest list or the attendee list earlier. And I want to start pre-scheduling meetings.
I was going to say, because even if you're speaking, you can make, obviously you have more, your time's a little bit more tied down, but you can use some of that free time or some of the 4 to 11 to kind of get your own benefit out of this, it definitely, conference.
Yeah, it doesn't suck being a speaker, but it's just like when you're a speaker, it's not just getting there and doing your thing for an hour. It's you get there an hour early, you do sound check, you do visuals.
Yeah, there's a lot more logistics involved.
Behind the scenes, I'm doing breathing exercises. The night before, I make sure I'm in bed early. The morning of, I'm up early to work out. And like there's a routine.
Absolutely.
And then you saw me do the presentation once, but I did it 5 times in my hotel room over the past 2 days so that when I got on stage, the likelihood of me flubbing or sucking was greatly reduced or diminished. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to suck. My goal is to never suck. If it happens once, I guess I'll forgive myself.
Do you still get nervous?
Every time.
That's good. I think it means it matters.
Yes, every single time. It reminds me of beginning of every football game. I was on kickoff return, and I was always in the middle of the field on the front row.
Okay.
Yeah, like you just need someone to come pop you in the mouth one time, and you're like, okay, all the nerves are gone. But it's knowing that you get those people, like you got 11 men running at you.
And you better be ready to take it.
They're running at you for a reason, So yeah, you always get a little bit nervous, but man, for me, the music comes on, the lights come on, and it's like game time.
Showtime, let's go.
All right, so that's for people attending. Okay, now I want to talk about this. If we're talking to an SVP of sales right now, we're talking to a CEO or even a company owner, and they are looking at hosting a sales conference, right? So this is a sales conference, whether it's internal or external, right? Internal would be, we're holding a sales conference because we have 200 loan originators. They're all going to travel into Pewaukee, Wisconsin for 3 days, 2 days, what have you. What advice are you having to those people that are planning that event?
So the first thing is you would be surprised at how quick event space books up. if it's a good venue, if it's a good hotel, which you want it to be, right? You want to have the amenities of a cool bar, of a nice restaurant on site. That's all things that attract your attendees. Some people may be traveling with, a significant other, so it's things that are attractive. Plan early. It's, some people say, oh, well, it's early 2026. Why do we need to start thinking about end of 2026 or even 2027? Because you're already behind. You're not just competing with other corporate events. You're also competing with social groups. You're competing with weddings. You're competing with in-house events going on. So there's no harm in planning early. There's no harm in securing dates, securing room blocks. There's so many different advantages to securing a room block early on. It's all based on dynamic pricing. So as the hotels start to book up, the rates start to go up. So the sooner you lock those in, better off you are. There's always perks involved for the host of the event or, the business holding the event, whether it's rooms or event space. Some even do monetary kickbacks, credits. So the earlier you can get in front of me and get your idea, or even, we don't need the whole plan. We just need, hey, we're going to have an event on this date or on this range of dates. What would be best? And we're going to have approximately X amount of people. I can work with that.
So your negotiating power is stronger the more time you have until the event.
Absolutely. As events start to book up, the demand is up.
Yeah.
They don't have a reason to bargain with us, right? But if they're looking at their 2027 calendar and it's still fairly blank, they want their salespeople too, right? Just
Yes.
like we're salespeople, you're salespeople in the mortgage industry. I'm a salesperson in the travel industry. They have to provide sales for their events department. So they want to fill up their books as quick as possible.
Yeah. My one piece of advice is, it's a twofold again. It's one of those less is more. There's nothing worse than going to a conference and the company that's providing, if it's an internal conference or external is coming in, there's, dozens of companies represented by this one conference. When they try to jam a 10 or 12 hour day in front of us.
Less is more, 100%.
Less is more. It is truly a quality, not quantity type thing. But my real piece of advice is, this is your event, but it's not for you. So it's your event, but it's for the people. It's for your guests.
Correct.
So you have to put out an event that's for them. I do events and as a speaker, I want to know what is your theme. As a speaker, I want to know who else is speaking, because what I don't want to do is step on people's toes. I don't want to be redundant. Now I'd love to be able to take, let's say Mike was speaking before me. If I know what Mike's talking about, I will find a way to tie in what Mike talked about to what I'm talking about.
That brings so much value to the attendees.
And I start reviewing agendas and I'm like, oh, this is what corporate wants to talk about, but this is not what sales professionals want to hear.
No.
Right? So day one is nothing but operational and technological rollouts and improvements and advancements. And I know the people at the home office have been working their butts off for this, but it's going to bore us AF. Us in the audience. If you give us 4, 6, or 8 hours of just basically updates that excite you, but it wasn't why we showed up, right? We showed up because we want to learn, what do we need to do to work less and make more, right? That's what most salespeople want. What do I need to do to have better work-life balance? What do I need to do in order to achieve my sales goals so that I can save more money, invest more money, and maybe retire better than I ever thought I could retire? And what's working, right? That's what people are. And if you're going to share with me an update, that's corporate. It better be, this is what I'm doing for you so that you can succeed.
Absolutely.
So
that's a great way to look at it. And also, if, I'm not sure how familiar it is in the mortgage industry, but I have seen that breakout sessions have such a much bigger impact than a 500 person conference room or event room, right? The attendees get more out of it, and I also feel like the speakers get more out of it. So one of the things we discuss when we're creating this master plan for your event is, how many breakout sessions are we going to have? Because I feel like those have so much more reach than, I know you have to have your big sessions and you're going to have your keynote speaker and all that, but the little sessions also play such a big factor, and a lot of businesses forget about those.
Yeah. All right. Last one was for people that are doing awards trips. What is your one piece of advice? And it can't be book early. So I need something different. Because book early, look, it's going to work for this one as well.
In this case, we already know it's a very similar setup from the logistics side, right? From the business side of it. From the attending side of it is you want to make it exciting. And if you're going somewhere, for example, let's say tropical, right? Tropical is always a great destination because who wants to go to the Midwest during January or February, which is, oftentimes when these events take place. Make it something fun. And I mean, I know you have to get something business out of it as well, but don't jam the schedule with a bunch of talks and conferences. Oftentimes they're bringing a significant other on this trip. Make it about them. It's not about the leadership. The leadership is already celebrating with the numbers in the bank account. Make it about the attendees. Keep it interesting. Give people options. Don't make things mandatory. So if you're going to have a couple of activities every day, make it to where people can choose what they attend or not. And that's going to give them a feeling of, hey, they're truly doing this for our happiness, for our satisfaction, not just to check off a box. And then cocktail hours over dinners. It doesn't have to be just drinking, right? But a nice, like a heavy hors d'oeuvres and cocktails go much further than a sit-down dinner. Yep. People get tired. They're used to dinners, right? Businesses always go sit down and have dinner. So it's a fun cocktail hour, some live music or some sort of entertainment. It really lightens up the mood, and it's something that's memorable versus just another dinner. No,
I love that. And dinners are long. They are long AF. And it's like you're forced to sometimes sit with strangers. With people like you and I, like for you and I, a stranger is just a friend we haven't met yet.
Correct. We're going to make conversation.
Yeah, but our spouses, right? For our spouses, sitting with strangers is like, cool, I got like 30 minutes. I'm like, no, I need 3 hours. And my spouse is like, I ain't got 3 hours for you. Like, I got 30 minutes if you need me to hang out. She's like, I run out of small talk.
Yeah.
Where you and I are going to walk away like a new best friend, right? So
we exchange numbers. We're going on vacation together next year.
Correct. Yeah. So like, I want that heavy hors d'oeuvre cocktail hour. I think it's a great suggestion. My 2 points to the leaders that are putting this on, you as a leader need to be accessible and approachable. Okay, these are your top producers. This is something special. Sometimes it's that quality time with you. Being able to sit at the bar
100%.
with the CEO and shoot the shit for 30 minutes, that goes way further than any really cool marketing piece your marketing department sent to my house. In fact, marketing departments, when you send stuff to my house, my wife looks at it and goes, I wish they just would have put that on your paycheck.
Yeah.
Like, what is this? And I know marketing's doing their job and they're making it look fancy and pretty, but really what we wanted was that time with Dan.
And I think that's changed. Before, people valued getting the coffee mug or whatever that piece may have been. People are more interested in the experience now, in being able to sit down and have a conversation, and to take away that from the trip is way more memorable than. And don't get me wrong, you do want to include the hat or the lanyard or the T-shirt, whatever is going to go in your welcome bag, which is something we'll get into another time. But that experience, that moment is way more valuable than any of that.
Yeah, so that's what I'm looking for. In an Achievers Club trip, you have to include the spouse or a significant other. You just do. Budget for it, plan accordingly.
100%.
The spouse needs to be there. Leaders need to be accessible and approachable because it's that quality time that we're looking for. And yes, the activities that Laura was talking about, they're more than just giving me something to do. You're also allowing me the opportunity to befriend my counterparts throughout the country that I maybe only see on a Zoom call once a quarter.
Correct.
And now I'm getting this place of like internally, like I'm feeling unified and I'm feeling like I'm a part of something bigger than me or bigger than my branch. So lastly, Laura, and we only have like a minute or 5 to talk about this. I want to announce this at the very end. We have
drum roll?
Drum roll. Okay. We have the first ever TLOP experience coming in September 2026, the TLOP Cruise. It's going to be brought to you by the one and only Laura Zuluaga, right? It's first class travel.
Zuluaga.
You. I can't say it. I'm not even going to try to say it. I'm absolutely done trying to say it.
The disrespect.
I'm going to shorten it to Zulu. That's what your water polo friends called you. I'm just going to go back to Zulu because...
That's fair.
Yes. Yeah.
So very exciting.
Hable conmigo solamente en español.
En español, okay. So very exciting. September. How much do we want to just roll it all out, or?
I mean, let's look. We're gonna tease it,
Okay,
right?
we'll tease it for today.
Yeah, because look, we still got marketing Mike in the background, and old Mikey Rocky Vinny is very particular, and he already got mad at me for teasing this last week on a Facebook, a private Facebook group.
How dare you?
Because he doesn't have the landing page up, because he doesn't have the color scheme, because he doesn't have the logo. I'm like, Mike, I can't, like, I'm too excited. Like, I can't not talk about this.
But that just tells everybody how great this is going to be. Look how riled up you are about it.
Oh, he and Steven are already talking about the handwritten notes that are going to be on the pillow, and what book are we going to give to everybody. And, you know, all I want to care about is like, hey, it's an open bar.
Is it open
when
bar?
Do
How many cocktail hours do we get with this thing?
Okay,
so,
no, but
all right. So
what-
I'll keep
what are
it.
the
I'll
dates?
keep
What
it
are the
brief.
dates?
Make sure you save the date for September 14th. It will be departing from Port Canaveral, which is our local port here in Orlando, Central Florida. So make sure you plan accordingly. If you want to fly in the weekend before and check out Central Florida, that's a great way to go about it. And then we'll get into further details in the ship name and all the other good stuff. We can do it? All right.
So September 14th through 18th.
Correct.
So we're going to hop on the boat around noon on Monday. Most of you who aren't local to like the Southeast, because I'm sure if you're in Georgia, Alabama, South Carolina, you can maybe drive down to Orlando.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, you need to get your happy ass to Orlando, Florida by noon Monday at the latest. I'd tell you to get here
I would
by
say
Sunday
9
night.
8. Yeah, I would say if you absolutely have to come down Monday because of, you know, life, then sure, Monday 8 a.m. I don't like
Yes.
your noon. You're making me nervous. The planner in me is freaking out as you say
but
that.
we can get on the boat.
Well, we're gonna work on some cool stuff. I can't tell you that
Okay,
yet.
well, look, yeah, they keep it a secret from me, y'all.
But
we
if
can
you're
get on the boat
flying in,
Monday.
if you're flying, yes, we will be boarding the boat on Monday.
Okay.
And then
And where
if
we
you're
going?
flying in from out of state, please don't fly in on Monday. Airfare is crazy now.
Yeah.
I just had a situation where a family was going on a cruise last weekend, flying out of San Juan. San Juan airspace was closed due to the attacks on Venezuela. No cruise for them.
Oh, no bueno.
So, no bueno.
Okay, so we're going to be gone Monday. We're going to get you back by 6 a.m. Friday.
Yes.
And where are we going?
We are going to Nassau, Bahamas. Then we are also going to Royal Caribbean's private island. If you haven't been there yet, Coco Cay, it is mind-blowing. Largest swim-up pool in the Caribbean. Beach, floating bars, water park. I mean,
Allegedly
you
a
can do it.
VIP beach bash. Allegedly, if Dustin Owen has his way, a VIP beach bash.
I'm sure we can make that happen.
Wednesday is going to be our actual sales conference.
Correct. We'll be at sea.
Yep, yeah, it's a day at sea. So we're going to do a full 6-8 hour like mortgage sales conference on the Wednesday. That Tuesday is going to be a day in the Bahamas, right? So get off the boat, go to the Bahamas. Look, if you have to work, there'll be Wi-Fi. You can stay on the ship and you can work Tuesday. Most normal people will be getting off the boat and enjoying Nassau, Bahamas. But yes, we're going to have events Monday night. We're going to have events Tuesday night. We're going to have an all-day event on Wednesday. And then Thursday, we're planning on a beach bash. It is the first ever TLOP experience. I don't want to call this a sales conference. It's an experience. And I think it's what the industry needs.
Absolutely.
It'll be small. I mean, we're doing 100 rooms. Like, we get 100 rooms and we sell out.
That's it.
Okay, unless Lori can go out and pull some strings and get on her knees and beg Royal Caribbean, which she may be able to do, we're not planning on that. So we have 100 rooms, which means we'll have somewhere around 140 to 160 people that are going to be able to attend this event. And we're going to start openly marketing it next month. But we at least wanted to tease it. Laura and I will be talking about it for the next few months as we get closer and closer to the dates and as more details come about. But Laura, I think this is where we'll find a good way to put a bow on today's episode. Is there anything last minute you need to say to the audience?
No, thanks for having me. This was fun.
Thanks for having you. Like, hey, I'm planning on them seeing a lot of you, so you may want to give a warning. Like, hey, y'all, fair warning. Today I was nice, but in future episodes,
let them find out on their own, Dustin.
Okay, well,
Don't give all my tricks away.
Okay, you're gonna have to keep tuning in. I will tell you this: if y'all ever thought JC gave me shit, you haven't seen Laura and I train together at 5:30 in the morning on a Wednesday, right? Or you haven't heard how she talks to me on hour 3 of a 4-hour bike ride. I promise you,
I set him straight.
she does not let anything slide by. And I'm excited to be able to co-host this show throughout this year and hopefully years to come. with Laura playing that role of hostess with the mostest, my right-hand person. And we'll continue to bring on other TLOP members, and we'll bring on guests as well like we normally do. But, it's time for us to make a change. It's time for us to level up. And, my determination is bringing Laura on the show more often helps us do just that. So if y'all have enjoyed this type of content, you're tuning in for the first time, thank you. If you're on Spotify or Apple, make sure you give us a 5-star review. 5-star reviews is how Apple and Spotify tell more people that this content doesn't suck. Now, if you haven't done so already, make sure you go to our YouTube channel. It's at TLOP Entertainment, but the YouTube channel is where you can go and watch this episode. You can also watch the previous 590 some episodes we've already done, but it's that YouTube channel that we also bring you a brand new show that we call the DO Show. It's where we can show you Coach's Corner. It's where you can watch Mortgage School. It's also where you can watch 10-minute clips of what we call Talk Mortgage to Me. So TLOP Entertainment on YouTube is its own beast of additional content, not just the Loan Officer Podcast. And if you are a mortgage loan originator and you have not already signed up for our newsletter, go to our website, tloponline.com. That's TLOPonline.com, so that you can sign up for our newsletter. By signing up for our newsletter, I'll make sure you get invited to one free masterclass every single month. But on that note, y'all, we are out of time. You have just tuned in to the Loan Officer Podcast. I'm Dio. She's Zulu. That's all the time we have for you today, but we do look forward to catching you on our next episode.
Till next time.